It's a pleasure to be here with you. And before I say a few things in these few minutes that I have available, I would like to agree with the rabbi that he has said there's something that we are not doing that is not working at all. All televisions should be present here because religious liberty and religious liberty, equality, women's equality. This is an objective that should be present in every society, and all media should be here present. I think we are all in agreement here. It would be good that those of them who are not here should know what we are saying. We are here only a few people represented, but if we don't have the media, the social media, and we don't have the newspapers, we don't have the televisions here represented, it will be difficult to share with others. But in any case, I have been asked to speak about the Seventh-day Adventist Church as a movement which has been in the foundation of the International Association of Religious Defense, but it's the association and the Seventh-day Adventist Church has been defending. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is not associated in totality with this association of religious liberty, because this association has to be neutral. It has to defend all religions. Since I can have my memory, I have been involved in religious liberty. Why? Because I have always belonged to a minority religion all my life. Those who belong to a minority, we have experienced certain things that has been evolving with the country. It has improved in my country, for example, in Spain. In 1980 with the law of religious freedom, and in 92 as well, we signed different things with the government, but there's many things that they still need to be done. And those who have lived like me in a dictatorship for 40 years, so because if you were not Catholic, you were an enemy of the country, that we keep in the back of our minds, and we would like that no other person around the world should suffer this same situation, not even when the Catholics are minority in other countries, nor Protestants, Muslims, Jewish. We would wish that nobody will have to suffer this, but it does exist. Because humans, we are tribal societies, really. And not only in Africa, where I lived, I learned this in Africa, but in Europe we are also. We are tribal because we have financial interests, we have ethnic or racial interests, and of course religious interests. Those who are part of this organization and that have been in the past, we have very clear ideas of what these civil rights and freedoms should be in existence, but what can we do to be effective, to be practical? Because if we put the television on, or if we read the newspapers, what do we see? What do we read? Conflicts, fights, disasters, that they seem never ending. There's a truth in journalism that good news are not good news. Only bad news are good news. And that's why we are educating our children, our adolescents, our youth in a constant violence is constantly present in films, in television, computer games. And one can wonder, how can you have a peaceful citizen afterwards when they grow up, when they have received an education where it was violence all around them, when the only thing they can see year after year is that human beings we can create barriers even when there are none. minorities have always suffered everywhere. That is true. And those who call ourselves Christians or believers, we have not always been the best model in the societies where we have lived. We have, and we can see it through history, many atrocities, the same discrimination that today we can call and many other in many ways. But the difference now is that now they are in the newspapers, on the television every day, in the media is every day. Please, above all, I'm grandfather, pastor for over 40 years, and a theology teacher in Africa and in Spain. I cannot stop myself from quoting some Bible texts because if only the Christians and those who are not Christians but recognize as Jesus of Nazareth, a model and a teacher, if we could recognize his words as love your neighbor as you love yourself, don't do unto others what you don't want to be done unto yourself. As it says in Genesis, God created all men in his image. In the last days, we are not going to be judged for what we have had or not, how much money we have, how many honors, how much power we have. We will be judged because what you did to one of those my little brothers, you have done to me. Because I was hungry and you fed me, I was thirsty and you gave me water. Words that we all know very well. But Christians, that we think that we are among the rich in the world, that we know very well the gospel of Jesus, but when we go to practice into reality, we don't come up to standard. I think we have the same with Muslim, with Jewish, and with other denominations. It's not the same, the written doctrines, that the practical application, especially when we have to apply that feeling of equality, of love, of acceptance, especially to those who feel or who think in a different way that I think. When Moses talks about what God did in creation, he says that God created men and women, and there's still many people, Christians in Europe, that we still need to learn. That men and women were created in the image of God, and their dignity comes from its creation, from their creation, their nature. I have always been very enthusiastic, and I have worked with the immigrants in Spain, in Exodus, in the Old Testament and Deuteronomy. God speaks through Moses to the Israelites to teach them how to behave towards foreigners, and it's very clear. But he actually goes to say in Deuteronomy that you should not only tolerate immigrants, but you should love strangers. You should love foreigners, which is the same what Jesus says in his gospel. I would love for it to be the same, to match the behavior of Christians today. We should show, if we say that God is a God of love, of justice and peace, then we should do something in this regard. Thank you very much.